From an awkward teenager waving a fluffy alien at a high school talent show to standing on the world's biggest stage holding a golden statue crying tears of relief and joy. This is the story of a girl who was not just born with talent but who forged it in the fire of public opinion, who survived being counted out, and who ultimately defined success on her own terms. Welcome back. If you grew up in the 90s or early 2000s, you remember Anne Hathaway. She was America's sweetheart, the girl next door, the princess. But if you only know her from those roles, you are missing the real story. The story of Anne Hathaway is not just a fairy tale, it's a masterclass in resilience, reinvention, and the sheer grit it takes to go from being a teen star to an Oscar winning millionaire. And today we're pulling back the curtain on the real Anne Hathaway. We're going to talk about the high points that made us cheer, the low points that almost broke her, and the incredible comeback that proved she is one of the most formidable actors of her generation. If you have ever felt underestimated, or you have ever wondered if you can pivot your life after public failure, stick around, this one is for you. Annie Jacqueline Hathaway was born in Brooklyn but raised in the suburban comfort of Millburn, New Jersey. And here is something a lot of people don't realize. She was not just discovered at a mall. This kid was raised for the art. Her mother, Kate, was an actress, and young Annie saw the theater not as a hobby but as a sacred space. When Annie was 14, she witnessed her mother perform in the tour of Les Misérables. She sat in that audience, watching her mom play Fantine, little knowing that one day she would play the same role and win an Oscar for it. It planted a seed. The idea that acting was not just glamour, it was work, it was craft, and it was powerful. She was naturally gifted student. In fact, she was the first and only teenager ever accepted in the Barrow Group Theatre Company's acting program. While other kids were worrying about prom, Annie was studying Meisner technique. She even sang at Carnegie Hall as a teenager with the All-Eastern US High School Honors Chorus. This was not an overnight success, this was a craftsman sharpening her tools. In 1999, a then unknown director named Gary Marshall was casting a Disney film based on a popular book. Hundreds of girls auditioned. Liv Taylor was considered, but then in walks Anne Hathaway. She was so nervous during her first audition that she fell off her chair. Gary Marshall loved it. He saw the clumsiness, the authenticity, the realness that Mia Thermopolis needed. At 17 years old, her life changed forever. The Princess Diaries came out in 2001 and was a massive hit, grossing over $165 million worldwide. Suddenly, this theater kid from Jersey was on the cover of every magazine. She was a star. But here is the emotional rub. She was a star playing a character finding her place in the world, while in real life she was trying to find her place in Hollywood. After Princess Diaries, the offers poured in, but they were all the same. Ella Enchanted, another princess movie. Hollywood had put her in a box. She was the wholesome, non-threatening girl next door. And while that makes for good posters, it's a creative prison. For an artist who had trained in serious theater, this was suffocating. She started to panic. She has said in interviews that she felt like she was being typecast, and if she did not break out soon, her career would be over before she turned 25. So she did something risky. She rebelled. In 2005, she took two roles that shocked everyone. First, Havoc, where she played a wealthy teen trying to act gangster, and then the big one, Brokeback Mountain. She played the wife of Heath Ledger's character, a woman trapped in a marriage she knows is a lie. This was the turning point. Director Ang Lee saw something in her that Disney had missed, a deep well of sadness and complexity. That role shed the kid star skin and revealed the serious actress. It worked, but just as she was finding her footing artistically, her personal life took a hit that would teach her a very public lesson. She was dating a real estate developer named Raffaello Folieri. To the public, he was a charming Italian businessman. To Annie, he was love. To the FBI, he was a con artist. In 2008, he was arrested for fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Imagine this, you are an actress finally being taken seriously, and suddenly your face is all over the news, not for your art, but because your boyfriend is being raped in an orange jumpsuit. The media had a field day. They portrayed her as either complicit or incredibly foolish. It was a brutal public humiliation. But here is where the success story gets interesting. At the height of this personal chaos, she did what professionals do. She went to work, and not just any work. In 2006, before the Folieri scandal broke, she had already shot a little film called The Devil Wears Prada. As Andy Sachs, the frumpy aspiring journalist thrown into the hellscape of high fashion, Annie became the avatar of every young woman trying to navigate a world that does not want them there. Her chemistry with Meryl Streep was electric, but it's the relatability that made it stick. We have all been Andy, underestimated, overwhelmed, and trying to figure out if success is worth losing yourself. The Devil Wears Prada grossed over $326 million worldwide. It was not just a hit, it became a cultural cornerstone. And for Annie, it was a bridge. It used her girl next door appeal but grounded it in real ambition and vulnerability. It remained Hollywood that she could open a movie. Post-scandal, Annie did not hide. He did something even braver. She addressed it. She went on the Tonight Show and made jokes at her own expense. She owned the embarrassment. She showed the audience that she was not a victim, she was a survivor. And then she channeled all the pain into her art. In 2008, the same year as the scandal, she starred in Jonathan Demme's Rachel Getting Married. She played Kim, a drug addict leaving rehab to attend her sister's wedding. It was raw, it was ugly, it was brilliant. She stripped away every ounce of glamour. No makeup, no cute wardrobe, just pure, devastating emotion. This role earned her her first Oscar nomination. This was the moment the world realized Anne Hathaway is not just a movie star, she is an actress. And she built the bridge with her own two hands. Which brings us to the mountaintop. 2012 Les Misérables. The role her mother once played. Fantine, a factory worker forced into prostitution who dies singing about her shattered dream. Anne Hathaway is known for her preparation, but for this she went to a dark place. She lost 25 pounds in a few weeks. She insisted on singing I Dreamed a Dream live on camera in one close-up take with no pre-recorded track. Director Tom Hopper let the camera roll as a single tear tracked down her gaunt cheek. It's one of the most stunning scenes in modern movie musicals. It earned her every award imaginable, including the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. She should have been on the top of the world. She had the Oscar, she had the talent, she had the loving husband, Adam Schulman. But instead, a strange thing happened. The internet turned on her hard. They called it Hathahate. The criticism was vague but vicious. She was too grateful, she tried too hard. Her Oscar speech was rehearsed. For months, media outlets ran pieces trying to figure out why people hated Anne Hathaway. Looking back, it was perfect storm of every internet toxicity. It was the peak of the cool girl syndrome. The idea that caring too much, being too professional, or trying to paste was cringy. It hurt her deeply. She was since admitted that she felt the industry turning on her. She lost roles, the phone stopped ringing. But here's the lesson: Anne Hathaway did not fight it. She didn't go on a promotional war. She listened. She realized that the world was exhausted with her and she needed to give it and herself a break. She stepped back, she became a mother, and she waited. The comeback, when it came, was quiet. It started with Christopher Nolan's Interstellar, a serious, grounded performance as a scientist and mother. Then came weird, interesting choices. A monster movie called Colossal, where she plays an alcoholic. A heist film with her old friend Ocean's 8. She stopped trying to be live. She started trying to be interested. She took roles that scared her, that were weird, that were fun. She stopped chasing the public's approval and started chasing the art. And recently we saw the culmination of this new era. In 2024, at age 41, she starred in The Idea of You, a romantic drama based on popular novel. The film was a massive hit on Prime Video. It introduced her to a new generation while reminding the old one of her star power. She was not just the mom in the movie, she was the heartthrob. She is now a producer, developing her own projects. She is married, a mother of two, and reportedly worth around $80 million. But more than money, she has something rarer: peace. She has spoken openly about hitting 40 and no longer caring about the noise. She said, "I feel like I have shed the skin of caring what people think, and I am just in my truth." So, what do we take away from this? Why does Anne Hathaway's story resonate so deeply with us, especially those of us in our 30s, 40s, and 50s? First, the danger of the box. Early in her career, everyone wanted her to be one thing. She refused. She risked failure to be more. How many of us stay in jobs, relationships, or identities because they are comfortable, even if they don't fit? Second, the resilience through public shame. The Hathahate period could have ended her, but she survived by retreating, reflecting, and returning to her own terms. She teaches us that you don't have to win every popularity contest, you just have to win the one with yourself. Third, the power of reinvention. She went from teen princess to indie darling to Oscar winner to internet punching bag to respected veteran. She did not follow a straight line. She drew a mosaic. Anne Hathaway's success is not just about the millions in the bank or the gold on the shelf. It's about the journey of a woman who learned that being yourself, flaws, awkwardness, and all is the only way to truly win. She turned her awkward teenage years into a career and turned her painful adult years into wisdom. So, what's your take? Did you ever fall for the Hathahate back in the day, or were you always a fan? Let me know in the comments below. Which Anne Hathaway performance is your favorite? Is it the whimsical Mia Thermopolis, the fierce Andy Sachs, or the haunting Fantine? If this story inspired you to keep going, even when the internet or your own inner critic is being loud, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the stories behind the stars. Thanks for watching. Be kind to yourself this week, and remember, even princesses have to fight for their happy ending. I will see you in the next one.